Now let's talk about layering, about how we order the sprites. To do that, I'm gonna first remove this sprites and put them under Node 2D. When I put it, you can see that the panda sprite and the enemy sprite have gone behind the background, which I don't really want. I want them to come front. So what I can do is I can go to the enemy and I can go to the ordering, and there is a property called z-index. I can turn it to 1. Now as you can see, the z-index of background in ordering is 0, whereas our enemy is 1. So our enemy is rendered in front of the background. You can see even if I move the background, the enemy always stays behind it. But our player is still back. The panda is still behind it. So I'll take the panda and I'll make it 1 as well, and you can see the panda is in front. Another thing you can notice is that now both panda and the enemy has z index as 1, but as you can see, the panda is in front of enemy. If I don't want this, I can simply go to enemy and make it 2, and I can move it, and you can see that panda is behind the enemy. But what if I want to keep the z index of both of them same? I can simply move the panda sprite above the enemy sprite, because the nodes which are above get rendered first and the nodes that are below gets rendered second. So if the panda sprite is above it, you can see it's still rendered after it, even though both the z indexes are same. But what will happen if I were to increase the z index of panda? You can see now it's rendered in front. So the ordering only matters when the z index of the nodes is same. Now let's look at the next property, which is z as a relative. For this, I'll take the panda sprite and make it the child of background. Okay. So now you can see the enemy has z index 1. Let's say I make it 3, and the panda sprite has z index 2, and you can see it's rendered behind the panda. Now what if I make the z index of background as 2 as well? Okay, and if I move the panda, you can see the panda appears in front of the enemy, even though its z index is just 2, whereas the enemy's z index is 3. So what happens is when z as a relative is enabled, then the z index of background and z index of panda both is considered when calculating its z. So the effective z index of this panda is 4. Now let's learn about why sort enabled. So to explain this, I'll add this enemy inside background. So you can see that the enemy and panda sprite are both children of background. Now to keep it fair between those two, I'll keep the z index of both of them as 2. So panda sprite is 2 and enemy is 2 as well. Now if I go to the panda sprite and if I move it around, you can see it always renders behind the enemy sprite, which is obvious because the z index is same and its position is above the enemy in the hierarchy tree. Fair. But what happens if I go to the background and I enable the Y sort? You can see that there is no difference yet, but if I move it, you can see it's rendering in front of the enemy sprite. If I keep moving it up, it disappears after some time. Means basically it's rendering behind the enemy sprite. But why is this happening? What does Y sort actually do? So Y sort basically sorts your Z indexes basis their Y position. So if somebody's Y position is greater, then it would be rendered in the front. Like when I move down, the Y position increases. When I move it up, the Y decreases. So as it decreases, it gets disappeared. Now that you have learned ordering, try going around, change the Z indexes, change the relativity, change the Y sort, Have fun with the node and just try to learn as much as you can while just playing with it. And if you are stuck anywhere, feel free to put it in the comments and I'd be happy to help you. See you in the next one.